Thank you for coming down this afternoon. It's always been my intention around the midpoint of the season to come out and speak a little bit. Obviously, with some of the changes that have been made this week, and with it getting to be the midpoint of the season, we look back and we reflect. We've seen some good things this year. We've also seen some stumbles, obviously. We've had a long time to assess. But I think whether you're a player or a coaching staff or a management staff, I think as you do get to the midpoint of the season, you do reflect on not only what's happened, but where you want to go in the future. So I think it's a good time to come out here and talk to you guys. I think that we obviously know that there's a lot of room for improvement. Our players know that there's the most important part of the season is in front of them, and a renewed commitment to what they have to do. So take questions.
Can you walk us through the decision to make a coaching change, your involvement in it? Obviously people saying, you fired Randy, not Dave. Just talk about your partnership with Dave on that and how it worked.
Well, just to give you a little insight on how we make all our decisions, I think we've got a good management team. It's a diverse group. I think that we talk about things and we share opinions. It's not any one person, whether it's me or Dave or Kyle or we discussed it as a group. Usually it's Dave and I, Kyle Dubas, Mark Hunter, and Brandon Pridham, because whether it's a coaching change or player movement change, a lot of our decisions will have cap implications. So generally speaking, when we do have a big decision to make or a direction we want to go, we discuss it as a group. And I think that Dave felt that it was his job to make that call. I agree with him. He's the general manager. He made that call. He made that announcement. But we make all these decisions as a group. We don't hide behind any one person, and we come to those same conclusions. And I can tell you we have healthy debates within the group. And then once we do make a decision, we move forward as a group.
Brendan, how do you think that the change will impact the team here in the second half?
Well, I think that's the million-dollar question. I think that anytime there is a coaching change, there is an opportunity for players to sort of look at themselves as well. I mean, there's that moment when a coach goes, and then you know that spotlight's going to be shined on you. So there's always new opportunities. There's for players, you hope to impress the new coach and get the trust of the new coach. As much as we've been assessing guys throughout the season, it's another opportunity for us to see guys under a different coach and see how they respond and react.
Brendan, what is that assessment? You've had half a season. Do you have the core leaders, not just to make the playoffs, but to win a Stanley Cup here? What is your assessment?
Well, I think our assessment's been fair to say that it hasn't been good enough. We have made a change. I think that we've seen our team in this group play the kind of hockey we want to play, some very good hockey. But the fact of the matter is, to have success in this league, you have to be more consistent. And we're not unlike a lot of teams in the NHL that are seeking to have that consistency. We have not been consistent enough. Like I said, we felt there was a change that needed to be made. Going forward with this group, as we get now into the second half, the entire team, we're going to learn a lot more. And there's a lot more pressure on them. They know it. They know that individually some of them have to be better. As a team, they have to be better. We're going to have bad nights still. Our coaching staff is going to spend a lot of time teaching, coaching. We've had meetings with the players, and we've expressed to the team that we're not going to back off of them. That, in fact, our staff is going to spend more time on. That was one of the attractions of a guy like adding Steve Staios to the coaching staff. Spent a lot of time teaching these guys, and somebody on the back end with the defensemen that some of them have played against, they've got a lot of respect for. It's going to be a big challenge, and we're going to learn a lot of things about our core in the coming weeks.
You address the core leadership, those specific players, the Fnuffs, the Kessels. Are you impressed? Are you not impressed?
I think it's fair to say that I haven't seen enough consistency, and that's really what it's about in being successful. I think most teams in the NHL that have success don't beat themselves. We are often sometimes our own worst enemies. So I'm optimistic about and I want to have an open mind about this new opportunity to come out in the second half. But the reality is, no, they know it. I expressed it to them that we're not satisfied, whether it's an individual or as a team. And quite honestly, it's really about how the team performs and how a lot of individuals get rated as well.
What type of a team are you trying to build?
Well, I think, quite honestly, I mean, I think our greatest asset's probably, most teams when they come in here and they play against Toronto, they talk about our speed and our ability to convert on chances. But the message that we are trying to pound home to our players is that you really have to be a lot more sound defensively. Being where we are in goals against, being where we are in shots against, it's not acceptable. We work a lot on our defense. That's important. I think it's also very important that we have strategies so that our focus is on how to play defense less often. We have to have the puck more. You're not going to have the puck the whole game. You have to be good in your end. You have to be good in all zones. But I do think we need more strategies in all three zones so that we can hang on to the puck more and play with the puck more.
Just generally speaking, there's a lot of parity, that. Do you see yourself, if the trend continues, making a small move, a couple players away, or do you see yourself making a big change with this club in terms of on the ice?
We have, we talk about this stuff all the time. We certainly have plans for this club. We've seen a lot of things so far. We know we're going to see more in the coming weeks. We know those decisions are going to be coming up. We're on it. We're prepared. Like I said, I think we've got a good management group where we discuss things openly. We have different opinions, and we go through them. One of the things that we had expressed to the players today was, while we were sitting and watching and viewing, we've seen the good and we've seen the bad. And at a certain point, you're going to tell us who you are. And, we're not going to be afraid when that time comes, if we have an opportunity to make our team better. Like Dave said the other day, if we have an opportunity to make this team better, we're going to make this team better. And whether that's a small move or a big move, really all depends on what we think will make our team better.
Brendan, is there anybody untouchable on this team? Players, coaches?
I don't know that, I don't know how many teams ever proclaim that players are untouchable. I mean, I think Dave said the other day, and I agree with him. If we ever have an opportunity to make this club better, we will.
Brendan, did you like the progress of the club's prospects in the recent World Junior Championships? Looking forward to the hopefully immediate future in the next couple of years, possibly.
Yeah, I think that those guys played well. William, Renat, Coach, they all had good tournaments. Certainly their development. A lot of the things that I've done since I've come here is, work a lot on our management group, and that includes our development team. Bringing Kyle over, who's put his attention on developing our development staff. Also bringing in a guy like Mark Hunter. I think that we can't underestimate how important it is that not only that we draft well, but that when we do have some of these players that we're following up with them and we're getting them to grow and have the patience to allow them to. And anytime we see an opportunity for them to take the next step, to progress, and hopefully come to the Maple Leafs at some point in their careers and help us, we do.
Brendan, you mentioned the consistency on the ice is what you've gathered from your assessment. What's your assessment of this team in the room so far, off the ice, in a leadership aspect?
Well, I think when you win hockey games, your leadership, gets credit. When you lose hockey games, your leadership gets blamed. That's the message in most dressing rooms and most teams is really, success will cure a lot of things. It hasn't been where we need it to be. If it does, we wouldn't have been so inconsistent. I think that it's a work in progress. And again, at a certain point, it's important for me to state that, I think that the way that our management team is set up, I don't want to smother people. I don't want to smother our players or our coaches or Dave Notice as our general manager. I think my job is best served, to be working inwardly. I want to work with the players. I want to work with these guys within our room, within our offices. I don't want to be out here working the press every day. I want to give them the time and the space in the room to go out and tell us who they are and what they are. So far, it hasn't been good enough. They know that. I mean, if you go in there and talk to all those players, they're going to tell you the same thing. But now in the second half, it's really an opportunity for them to produce.
So you addressed the players today, you said?
I did.
What was the purpose of that?
Well, I think same thing. I think once you get around this time of the year, and obviously with changes we made to the coaching staff, I felt it was a good time to remind them what their expectations are, try to galvanize the group. Look, we're not at the end of the season, we're at the midpoint of the season. You know, they're still in the hunt here. How they're going to be defined is really up to them at this point. I also want to make it very clear to them that we're watching and that we're on it. And whether we've seen good things or we've seen some bad things, they're not getting by us, they're not escaping us. We're not going to be a group that is afraid to act if we feel that we're going to be able to make ourselves better.
Brendan, this first year for you, a lot of it was to gain knowledge and to get a sense of what you had here. Have you seen enough at the midway point to get a feel yet whether this team needs a rebuild, a retool, some tweaks, a lot of work? There are different levels of changing the face of the team.
Yeah, we have a very strong idea of where we need to go, but again, it's I think that, you know, our players and our coaches have to worry about one thing, and they have to worry about their next game. They worry about today, and that's it. I think we in management are going to, obviously you're concerned with each and every game, you prepare for each and every game, but you're also constantly looking down the horizon. And like I said, we, you know, we certainly have a good feel for what we've seen so far. We don't always share our thoughts and opinions because you can have a plan and your plan might change. We recognize that as well. And this is another good opportunity for us to see what some of our guys are made of.
Further to the non-game stuff, what do you as the boss think? What goes through your mind when you see things like Stickgate, players losing it in media interviews? You as the boss, what goes through your mind when you see that?
Well, you know, quite honestly, I think that we get a lot of coverage here, and you know, there's a great passion here, and that's fantastic. I mean, I think if you're a hockey player, you want to be somewhere where people care a lot. But the idea that in some of these cities that have had some established winning in recent years are not going through their own bits of adversity, it's a mistake. If you think that they're skipping through the streets of Chicago or LA or Detroit, they're not. Every team has to deal with their own bits of adversity. And to me, what's most important is not necessarily avoiding adversity, because it's impossible to do that in a hockey season. It'll be something. It's always been more important to me how does our group respond to adversity. Now, when we lost 9-2 to Nashville, when we had the situation with the stick salute, I thought our team responded well at that time. That to me is what's more important than just trying to avoid adversity, is just addressing it well. Right now we're in a bit of a situation right now where we haven't been responding well. And again, that consistency, it's something that we're not the only team that is dealing with, trying to achieve that consistency.
Take a few more questions.
Brendan, do you plan to go on the road trip, Western Conference, to monitor, have a look at the team, how they progress?
I plan to be in LA. Yeah, I think you know, it's a tough trip. We're going to LA. We're going to Anaheim, San Jose, St. Louis. We know that this is a difficult part of the schedule. I think that it's an important time for our guys. So yeah, I'll be there.
Do you leave the coaching situation until the offseason now? Or do you plan to look?
No, we're going to wait till the off season now. I think that you know, I've been pleased with just the early reports from Peter. Peter will be one of the people that we will consider at the end of the year, but we're going to wait till the end of the year.